Hello, welcome. In this podcast episode, we're going to be talking about sport and mental health at university. My name's Freddie, and I'm the Student Union Vice President, and I'm also an ambassador for Movember.
I'm Sami. I'm football coaching and performance student, first year.
And my name's Cathal. I'm a second year on sports science and coaching.
Fantastic. So I think the best place to start off is why did you come to Chichester University? Is there any sort of particular instances that sort of draw you here to Chichester?
To be honest, I discovered the degree by accident. I was looking for football coaching degrees, and I saw that there's a degree called football coaching and performance, and then there were a few unis, and what got me into this one specifically was the fact that it was the only one that offered me an interview. And once I had the interview with my program lead, I liked the sound of it, so that's why.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really good. I mean, especially here at Chichester, it's quite common. I hear quite a lot of the time, like, Chichester are the only one to offer me an interview. However, actually, when you come to Chichester and what you leave with, the value added, I think, here is really fantastic. So while some people might say, oh, well, the entry levels are too low, actually what we give is we're not just looking at entry requirements, but more of a holistic approach. What experiences do you have, and where's your personal motivation, I suppose? Cathal, what's your story coming here to Chichester?
So when I was looking at unis, I didn't want to go anywhere too far, first of all. Knew I wanted to go to a sports uni. As soon as I was looking, saw University of Chichester, going through the courses, it appealed to me. My college had a direct link as well on the Isle of Wight. So it was very nice flowing to go to this uni, essentially. It's easy for me to get to.
Sure.
So
amazing.
It stuck out right away.
No, really good. And when you were picking your degree, obviously, you Sammy, you said you were looking for sort of football coaching performance degree. Is that something you're looking to then go into after university, or is this sort of a stepping stone into potentially another environment?
I think I love football. I think that's my biggest passion, and football coaching is a good entry to so many different branches of football. Sure. There's analysis. There's coaching. There's so many different branches, and for me, it's just discovering what I like, really.
Okay, fantastic. Cathal?
So I was in two minds about coaching, or whether I wanted to go more down a less practical route to science and stuff. Okay. So doing the sports coaching science degree was perfect. It's in the middle. So now I'm in my second year. I have a pretty set idea of what I want to do going forward. I've been really interested by strength and conditioning, and that's mainly because of the uni presenting it to me.
Okay,
and
fantastic.
I found it really appealing, yeah.
Well, I think it's really nice. So, Cathal, as your second year, obviously you've been here now for 2 years, sort of your experiences so far, has there been anything that has stuck out to you, is sort of really added value to your time here at the moment?
Yeah, so first year, when I did first come here, I was doing the football coaching side of things. There was a trip to Barcelona.
Okay.
I think I did end up essentially switching, but it was such a good trip. It was a real eye-opener to different coaching methods all over the world. We didn't just look at football, we looked at National Institute of PE. And I think that just really changed my perspective on what I wanted to do going forward.
Amazing. Sounds really good. I mean, Sammy, you're an international student, and you have quite a lot of experience, I think, outside of here at university with football. So taking your experiences from other places, even different countries, how have you found your experience here so far?
I think the English football is the most different football I've ever experienced, because I did work in Mexico in the professional ambit, and here it's just so much more different how the game is played, how the culture, the players, everything is just so much different. 100%.
Amazing. Well, going sort of to the other topic, obviously we're talking about sport, but also mental health and how that ties into sport. I mean, I know for me personally, mental health has been a big factor in my life with people around me and myself. So I find that if my mental health is in a good place, I perform better. But how have you guys found sort of mental health in sport, and do you have any specific instances which have sort of affected how you've your decision making, or how you've played, or future decisions you've taken?
Well, I've coached more than I've played.
Yep.
But I think my biggest challenge was when I coached back in Mexico. I had this opportunity to work as an analyst in a professional club, and I had to move cities. But for me, it was very, very difficult, because you were working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. Saturdays you play the game, and Sundays it was all working analysis. It was living by myself, and then living in a condition where the results were 100% of your value. If you win the game, then you did a good job. If you lost the game, then then it was terrible. And
Yeah.
if your whole day is just football, it's very detrimental. So it was kind of building on that. And I think the best decision I've ever made in my life was probably going to therapy, which was what massively helped me going during that time, and flipped the experience on its head.
For sure.
From something that I was struggling a lot to something that I was learning a lot. And
yeah, so from your experience about obviously what a lot of things I talk about when I do sort of some awareness with November during that month is opening up and speaking. I think I find especially men within sport and men in general aren't very good at opening up to their emotions. So it's really good to hear actually that you've now gone out and you sought the help and you've experienced a really positive reaction from that. Cathal, how have you found sort of, has your mental health been affected playing sport, or have you found it's generally been a really positive environment for you?
So I think when transitioning from home to university, when I first got on a football team here, I was very shy, nervous. I hated it. If that time this year you told me I'd be talking on a podcast, I wouldn't ever believe it.
Yeah.
But I thought about dropping out. I was very lonely because you see these very tight-knit teams and you're the new person, but I stuck through it, and I think if I didn't, I wouldn't be as confident as I am. I wouldn't talk as confident as I am. So sticking with a team with like a very good group of lads has just helped me so much mentally.
Yeah,
because otherwise I feel like I would have been very alone otherwise.
And I think it's sort of one of the really good positives with sport is that sport brings a lot of people together. But when you go to university, that's sort of expanded because you're joining university, which is a new experience, and then you're joining a sports team which has students from all different courses, you know, not necessarily, I know football, obviously football coaching performance ties into it. You know, when I played hockey, we had people who did English, we had people who did theatre, but then also sports. So then you're tied in with people from loads of different backgrounds. So I think for me, like, have you been able to like forge some friendships here at university? How's that happened for you at university? Do you think it's been a really positive experience? I know Sammy, you know, I think we're going to come on to later. I think we're going to talk about Big Bucks Wednesday, but that whole experience. But how have you found like the team and making friends through sport at university?
For me, it's been really easy because as soon as you join the course, there are 30 other people that have the same interests as you, and if you start talking to people, reaching out, you see everybody's like really friendly and they want to learn.
Yeah.
So I feel like in my year we're really close. Obviously you're gonna have people that you don't really get along with, people you get along with more, but I found it really easy to get along with people that have such a big interest.
Fantastic. Yeah. And Cathal, you also as well, you play for multiple football teams, I believe, here at Chichester. So you say at the start you sort of felt very shy and it was quite maybe intimidating coming here at university, but now as a second year, do you feel much more settled?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I can go talk to people if I ever have a concern within football, as much as I feel like people can now come to me.
Yeah.
Because I've been in their position, and even started this year, there's lads who spoke to me and just need a bit of a confidence boost. Like, they're here for a reason, like they need to know that.
Yeah.
So making friends has been great, but it's also good to keep friendships going as well.
No, for sure. I mean, I suppose when someone joins university, sort of you go through Freshers Week, and Freshers Week for a lot of people can be really intimidating. But a big part of that is on the Wednesday we have the Freshers Fair, and a lot of that is making sports and meeting all the sports teams. I suppose, how was that experience for you and for other new students? What would you say to them coming in, if they're interested in joining sports? Any advice you can give them?
I'd say that we've all been there, and it's really not as intimidating as it might seem, because the moment you start reaching out, you get everybody giving you flyers, inviting you to this, to that. Everybody wants you there, and if you just try it out, you'll see that people are very, very welcoming. The societies are really welcoming, and they want you there.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Is that sort of similar to you, Cathal?
Yeah, I'd have the same to say. Just even if you want to try a new sport, go for it. The uni's so inviting. So yeah.
No, fantastic. So on the competitive sports side, something I played a lot when I was here at university a few years ago. I'm still here, but as a student, you know, we played a lot of hockey, and that was quite competitive. Obviously, you guys were in football. Sammy, I mean, recently you went with our men's football team up to what's called Big Bucks Wednesday, which is probably the most prestigious university event of the year for sport. But how did you find that for you, and did it sort of impact your mental health because of the pressure of the event which was coming up?
I mean, there's always added pressure because I really really like everyone in the one, so I really want to put my best work, and I was preparing for days. I do analysis, so obviously doing all of the analysis and just wanting to make sure that everything is perfect. But at the end of the day, you know that with uni football, if you win or you lose, you always stick together and you always have fun. And the result wasn't obviously what we wanted, but then a few of the boys went out in Nottingham, and then we came back. We had a laugh about it. We stick together, and that's what it's all about. Uni football is all about. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. You stick together, and it's always good.
Yeah, and as an individual, and sort of, I suppose, because you're coaching the team, so you're not playing, but you're as a coach, what's the sort of methods you use to make sure that you feel like you're on your best game of focus, but you can tell the other lads to make sure that they're switched on and ready to go out and do what they need to do, or try their best to do?
It's funny because what I've learned this year is that there's like a dualism. Like, you always have the anxious people that are like me and a few others, but you always have the more laid back people. And I find that when I'm always anxious or like a bit uncomfortable, I go with the laid back, and I always feed off their energy and like calm down, relax, we joke around. And if you have a room full of anxious people, you're gonna overthink stuff. But if you have a room full of laid back people, you're not gonna really compete.
Yeah,
when you mix both,
it's a good balance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like my strategy was just letting go, learning to letting go, and just sitting with those people, and just trying to have fun until the game, and being confident that I've prepared as much as I can.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
And Cathal, you in your experience with the football teams, do you have yourself individually sort of ways to make sure that you can balance their competitiveness but still make it enjoyable?
Yeah, like 100%. I think as soon as the whistle goes off at a match day for us, whether it's a third team, a fifth team at the uni, everyone wants to play, everyone wants to win, lose or draw. At the end of the day, everyone still goes home happy, smiling, stay together, and we do it again another Wednesday. It's great, yeah.
No,
the power of the socials as well. After the match, going to someone and then just bonding together, and then going to Wishy and then having a good time.
So I suppose, the social aspect of university sport is really important, if not more so than the actual playing of the game, because it allows you not only to bond on the pitch, but then off the pitch, which for me, I think, especially as someone who plays and coaches, it's really important that your team is sort of sticking together and speaking up to each other. I mean, I know you said, Cathal, earlier that, you feel like people can come to you to speak to you if they have concern, but also then you can go to others to make sure that if you're feeling a little bit anxious, nervous, unsure, there's people there within the teams, and I think that applies across all the teams here at Chichester. But especially in male sport, I find that there can be a bit of a stigma as well, especially sort of masculinity, that sort of changing room banter and all of that, and a lot of that can be really negative. And I know recently, there's a lot of people speaking out about this sort of masculinity in sport and trying to open up more. But how have you found it, both sort of individually, before university, after university? Well, not after, but while you're here at the moment, has there been some things that have stuck out to you?
I feel like, in my experience, if you go with that stigma of masculinity, doing this, doing that, not really working on yourself, you're gonna find that you're not gonna perform. You need to be more holistic about what you do, about how you take care of yourself, about making sure your mind is in the right headspace to perform better. And that's what we tell all of the players. And I feel like in the teams that I've worked at, I think I've been really lucky because the players understand that and they take care of each other. They take the holistic approach, and once they work on themselves, they perform better rather than just being close-minded and traditional in that sense.
No, fantastic. And Cathal, is there anything you can is that sort of similar experience to yourself, or have you seen some other sort of things that have stood out, both positive and negative? There's been lots of experiences throughout my time, but just interested to hear. Obviously, you play a very different sport to me, so the culture is also going to be very different. But hopefully, there's been a lot of positives you can take away from it as well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. As I think there is a lot of this. I think in football, there's a massive stigma around masculinity, and you do see it every time you do go, but it only takes someone just to pull into the side and be like, hey, like, just relax. Like, it's not good sometimes, but it's just, you got to deal with it sometimes. And
no, for sure.
head on straight.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's fantastic. I mean, for you as a coach, if you sort of experience that masculinity from your players, is there a way that you can combat this to make it a more welcoming environment? Like, is there sort of certain things you look out for to try and get in front of it before it expands too far?
By experience, usually the players that are like that, I can think of a few. It's more of a problem they've had maybe with their childhood or growing up, or they're not having a good time, and their escape is being a bit aggressive. So I think usually an arm around them, or pulling them for a chat, or trying to see what's happening is important, is what you should do, because usually they're not like that. They're just going through a rough time.
Yeah.
And if you can, as a coach, learn how to get to them and help them out, then it changes. I don't think anyone is aggressive and closed off by nature. I think that happens by learning.
So previous experiences.
Exactly.
And I think this is something which is really evolving quite rapidly within the sporting environment, even up at the professional level. It's the role models, especially within football. A lot of people look up to the people, the Ronaldos and the Messis. So for me, it's certainly something that needs to come from above as well as sort of at the grassroots level. So it's fantastic to sort of hear that, you're very focused and conscious of what needs to happen and what you can do to support others, and not instantly just say, oh, they're not being very nice, so therefore they're not included. But as you said, you sort of look at, actually, is there history there which could be now coming into play at university? Is there anything else, Cathal, you can sort of add to that, or no?
No, not really.
No, fantastic.
Sammy smashed it.
Sammy smashed it. There we go. Fantastic. Here at Chichester University, I mean, do you know, have you used any of the support structures in place? So within sort of the wellbeing team, or I know within our societies we have the wellbeing officer. Have you experienced that yet?
I think I'm pretty lucky that I've been going to therapy for a long time. So I've stuck to that, and I think my biggest support structure have been third years, second years who have been in here longer, and they've taken good care of me, and whenever I have concerns, they've been there for me. And I think my biggest support structure have been other students from football as well.
Fantastic. No, really, really good. I mean, it's really good to hear that your experience of football is so positive, because, looking as an outsider who doesn't do sport, for example, it can be very intimidating sport. They just see a lot of loud people, supporters can be really loud, and so it's really actually good to hear and also tell others that actually sport is a really welcoming place and an inclusive place as well. So it's really positive to hear. Cathal, have you sort of used any support structures here at university, whether it be sort of the wellbeing officer or the actual wellbeing team?
I think I'm quite fortunate that I haven't had to.
No.
Again, I've had what I'd call my seniors who've been great.
Fantastic.
First year and second year.
Yeah.
I still talk to them now. If I need advice, they usually will guide me in some way.
No, fantastic. And obviously you now as a second year, are you looking to sort of take on greater responsibility within your club for sort of welcome the first years in? Is that something you're looking to do?
So going into next year, I'm taking over the fives.
Okay, fantastic.
As manager, which I think is good. I've worked some half of the year.
Yeah.
Gain their respect and stuff like that. And I've also gone for social sec.
Okay.
So I think one of my biggest objectives as social sec is to get the whole of football just to really bond more.
Okay.
With a more of a one club mentality.
Yeah.
I think that's one of our biggest objectives for next year.
No, fantastic. So looking forward, what would you like to see potentially within both the football environment but also the wider sporting environment, which could potentially benefit, us as men in sport? Is there anything you would like to see change, or is there things that you think are coming into play at the moment which could have a really good benefit to the younger generation moving into sport?
For the uni or in general?
In general, university and in general,
I think mental health has something that has to come from the hierarchy up top. So you have the coaches, and then you have the more popular, the best players, and then it goes down the pyramid. And if it comes from them, I think it's very impactful. And I feel like there has been a change where players have been spoken out more, and therapy has been more accessible. Meditation has been more accessible. So I think there has been a change, but I think it's very important for the people in the top of the hierarchy to really talk about it and promote it for everyone.
Yeah, fantastic. Anything you sort of want to see sort of implemented, whether it be within football or just in general around the sporting environment?
I think just if you're not doing anything on a Wednesday, say at uni, get down and support other teams, whether it's football, rugby, netball. Everyone plays on a Wednesday, and I think every team should. They deserve supporters, people just to get behind them. Like,
Yeah.
we are one uni. We're a small uni. We should stay tight together and close together.
I think the power of a crowd as well is really positive
yes.
for people at university, especially those when you're playing a game. I mean, the atmosphere, we just recently had varsity, and the atmosphere there where every single student and even staff members came down to support. I think that has a really positive impact on how you can perform, because all that noise cheering for you can be a real big impact and hopefully make you perform better. So I think 100% you're really bang on there. Students supporting students is something that's really fantastic to see, and it happens a lot. I mean, the difficulty of university sport, as we know, is half the teams are home, half the teams are away.
Yeah.
You know, who do you want to support while also trying to...
But even so, when you go away, I don't think we at the one went away and we didn't get single crowd against us. But when we're at home, we always get a crowd.
Yeah.
So I feel like as a small uni, one of the positives that come with that is that, as he said, that we bond together really well.
Yeah.
The threes come and support us, and if we don't have a game, we go and support the fives, and we all support each other, which is great and so good to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fantastic about Chichester. Is we are a small university. We're a little university in the south coast. You know, we have Portsmouth to one side, we have Brighton and Sussex to the other, who are really big universities, but actually sporting wise and across all departments we really punch way above our weight and size, but that small community is something that really can't be mistaken for, and it's, I think, one of the drawing factors for anyone who comes to visit here is that everyone knows everyone. So I think that's really fantastic. So moving forward, I mean, I think for me, mental health has been a big part, and obviously when we look at mental health in sport, you know, we talk about anxiety, but another big part of that for me in sport is the inclusivity. And when we look at LGBTQ plus, and a lot of that, especially up at the top level, you know, I'm definitely seeing a lot more professional sports people come out to the public, which is something in previous years hasn't been done. But I think even here at Chichester, you know, we have a really strong LGBTQ plus community. I mean, I don't know if you guys know of any experiences you have. I mean, I think for me in hockey, you know, we had a student 2 years ago who came to us, I think just after COVID, asking if they could join, who was a trans man, and it was one of the most fantastic experiences, and it opened up this little avenue for more students to feel much more welcomed here. I don't know if you guys have experienced something similar as well.
I think it's a very new thing in football. Like, I think football has been campaigning all over the world for lots of years, and it's a start of something, I think, big. I think we've had like the first couple of players come out as gay players, and we've had the rainbow campaign in the Premier League for lots of years. But I think it's something that needs to be talked about more, and something that has been talked about more recently.
No, I think it's really good. I don't know, Cathal, have you experienced anything like that? You know, do you know of anyone who has potentially avoided sport, but hopefully has now the door's been opened for them to actually get involved?
Not from a first-hand point of view, but I definitely think there are people that would love to play football, or just any sport in general, not just football, but they might feel too scared to, as they might feel judged. Again, from our perspective, it's a very new thing, but it is becoming more aware and apparent to people, and I think as it should be.
100%. And I think it's the awareness factor which is really important to speak on, is just make it aware and make other people aware that, you know, inclusivity, we are here to welcome anyone and everyone. So I think for me, one of the most important things is something I talked to a lot of other lads about, is around sort of keeping communication open. So talking to others, I think, is a really powerful tool to have. And while it can be initially really challenging, taking that first step and asking for the help is really important. Sammy, I know you mentioned earlier that you started doing therapy a while back and you continue to do so, I believe. Do you have any advice for other people who are potentially considering therapy or are struggling at the moment, and that could be a good option for them?
I remember for me, I did start therapy when I was in a moment of crisis, and it was really scary to look out for help, because you're honestly admitting you can't handle it yourself. And as someone that wants like to control as much as I can, admitting that I can't control some parts is scary. But I think the biggest stigma and the biggest misconception about therapy is that you don't have to be in a crisis to go to therapy. Right now, I'm not in a crisis. My mental health is pretty well, and I continue to go to therapy to continue to grow. And in every club and back home I worked at, there has been a therapist for every age category. So they make sure that the players are all going to it, and I think it's a really powerful tool to make you a better athlete.
No, and I think it's really important is actually don't let yourself get to the crisis.
Yeah,
Try and catch it before you get to that point, because it allows you then to keep control. But the other thing you said I think is really important is only control what you can control.
Yeah.
Don't try and control the things you can't control, which is a lot of things that happen in life which you just don't have no control over.
It's something like sport. When you're playing with 10 other people,
you're
gonna control very little usually.
Yeah. No, for sure. Cathal, is there anything you I know you said generally you feel like you've been quite well balanced when it comes to your mental health, but any advice to students who are potentially looking for help? Because I know you've mentioned that you go and people come to you for help and just a bit of a chat.
I think don't be scared to speak to your friends about it or higher ups. I can promise you most people who've been to university, they've been in similar situations. They've been scared, their anxiety's been high. It's not uncommon at all. It's very common for most people. And I think admitting that is the first step. And then maybe just talking to someone, and then if that's not working, maybe go therapy. Just find what works for you.
Yeah,
it's the most important thing.
Yeah, really important. I mean, find what works for you, because everyone will respond very differently to different things, and so what one person might find as beneficial might not be beneficial for others. So even if you try one particular route way and it's not working for you, doesn't mean you should then stop. Look at the alternatives that could be available.
The managers we have for next year and this year, they've been so easy, so approachable to go to their. Management is really, really good, and they have a genuine interest to help their players and help people around them. So
fantastic.
People here want to help you.
No, fantastic. Well, I think that's really helpful, and thank you both. I mean, Cathal, Sami, thank you so much for joining us today. I think this is a really important conversation, so I'm glad we've been able to sort of chat about it, and I'm also really happy to hear that your experiences here have been really positive. So thank you very much for joining us. Our socials and links will all be on the screen and in the bio, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.